So that moment was a very difficult time for me. When adversity came, I could have fell apart, but I chose instead to follow my heart. When adversity comes, I will never run, I will adjust, adapt, and overcome. Vision. Hello everyone, welcome one, welcome all. I am your host, Vision of Hope, but not only I am Vision of Hope, but you know the rest. We are Vision of Hope. And this is your one-stop shop for everything empowerment. I am Tariq Williams. And if you're looking for empowerment, no need to look any further. Hit that like and hit that subscribe button. But now, let's jump into the video today. You've seen the title. Do roadblocks really exist? Well, Tariq, of course they exist. What do you mean? They affect me every day. And I'm just trying to live my life, but these roadblocks keep popping up. Okay, well, we're going to talk about that and see how we can get through those different situations. Now, in order to talk about if roadblocks really exist, let's kind of break up the word a little bit and let's define them. And then after that, once we understand what those words mean, how we're going to take it with us on our journey. So, let's go. So, roadblocks, we got two words here. We got road, we got blocks. For sake of consistency, we are going to define them both. So, road. Obviously, when we're talking about road in terms of roadblocks, the path that we feel like we're supposed to be going on to get to our particular dream or goal or job or career, destination, what have you, okay? I think we can agree on that's the road, right? The path, all right? Now, when we're talking about the blocks, well, Dikembe Mutombo, great block leader. Let's get some clips of Dikembe Mutombo.
Kendall Gill, Mutombo again takes care of that one. And the first standing ovation in the first 42 seconds of the game.
Okay. Not in my house.
All right. Well, obviously we're not talking about blocks in basketball, okay? But in terms of blocks, what we're defining this as for the phrase or word of roadblocks, we're going to talk about something obstructing our path, something in the way of our path, not letting us get to the destination that we want to achieve. And so when you put both those words together, roadblock, block being the key word in this phrase, right? Something obstructing your road, something obstructing your path to get to where you want to go. All right? And so you're probably thinking, well, Tariq, this is clearly a real thing if you're able to define it. Well, let's keep going. And so roadblocks. I want you to take a moment and we're going to stop here and think about what are some of the roadblocks in your daily life, in your job, in the career, in school that are affecting your success. Cue uncopyrighted YouTube music here. All right, cool. And now I'm sure you're probably even still thinking, and so if you have a few more roadblocks, insert some more uncopyrighted YouTube music here. All right, great. So now we're thinking about some roadblocks that are affecting us in our daily lives, right? We're thinking about what those things are, and now we're like, all right, Tariq, I thought about these obstructions in my path. What do you want me to do now? What do you want me to think about now, Tariq? All right, let's do it. So let me get into a little bit of a story. And I would say this is probably one of my lowest points. So every year when I was an undergrad, I used to work at a blindness program up at Penn State University and worked there over the summers. And I used to really enjoy it. And so when that was happening, I got to see the campus at Penn State University. For undergrad, I went to Westchester University. But for every summer, I was in Penn State, got to see the campus, and it was great. I really enjoyed the campus and just being in the area, and it was a really neat place. And so then, because I enjoyed it so much, I was like, okay, well, what's next? I'm going to go here for my master's program. And so I was going to apply to some other places, but I was like, absolutely not. This is the road that I'm going through. This is the road I'm taking, and this is it. And so you probably are starting to see where this is going. And so when I applied and I thought I did everything right, put myself in the proper places and the proper situations to be successful, I started hearing some other people who I knew getting accepted into the program, and I hadn't heard anything yet. And so I'm sitting back. Well, right now I'm leaning forward. So I'm sitting back and I'm like, okay, I mean, they're just looking through my application, and it'll be fine. A few more days go by. I haven't really heard too much. And then I get an email. I'm like, okay, cool. This is it. We're getting ready to pack our bags. It's a done deal. And then they wanted a writing sample from me, which I thought was pretty strange because I consider writing one of my strengths. I graduated with an English degree, so I feel very comfortable in my writing ability. And so I said, okay, no worries. I have a ton of things that I can send over. And so I sent it over, but at this point, I had heard of other people being accepted and wanted to make sure was hoping that I would still get in. And so some more time goes by, and then one day I'm in the library with one of my friends, and I get the reply back, and it says, you've been waitlisted, you can just, we'll see if you can be in the program, and we'll see what happens. And basically, I hadn't gotten in. And so there was this dark cloud around me, rain, thunderstorms, lightning. I try to, present positivity and happiness, but this day I was just the ultimate stratus cloud. Fun fact, for those of you keeping track at home, one of my favorite classes in undergrad, no, I was not a science major, but I did take a weather class. It's a great class. If you have the opportunity, take a weather class. But anyways, so I was this giant stratus cloud full of unhappiness, okay? And I remember just, sitting in a library, and my friend, she was getting ready to leave, and she was like, Tariq, what are you gonna do? I took a deep breath, and I looked straight at her, and I said, well, hopefully my rap career takes off. And so she laughed and walked away. But I think at that moment did a lot more for me that I realized than as the joke. Because even though it was a joke that I had said and that I was in a not so great place, at the end of the day, I was still me, right? At the end of the day, I was still me, and I just needed to process and continue moving forward. So that moment was a very difficult time for me, and people would think that I would talk about other issues in my life as a roadblock, but I knew that I needed to do more work on myself in terms of that situation and growing in different areas to be in a place where I need to be successful. And so, unfortunately, that just wasn't in the cards. So, let's fast forward now back into the video after I told you that story. Clearly, my roadblock, right, was not getting into the master's program at Penn State University. Okay? Clearly, that's the roadblock, right? And so, when we think of roadblocks, we think of these external variables or physical barriers that drive you away from where you feel like you're supposed to be. But let's start to think about some different perspectives here. When we think of roadblocks, we immediately think about the negatives, right? Things obstructing us, like we said before, things obstructing us from our path. But sometimes we need to work on ourselves to make sure that we're ready for the path that we feel like we're supposed to be on, and or the path that chooses us in a sense. And so when we are thinking about our roadblocks, at the end of the day, it turns into a bit more of a mental conversation with yourself more than anything. Because the only way a roadblock can truly affect your road and everything that you're doing is through your own mental. You are the only person who has the ability to give your roadblocks power, to give it the ability to grow, to have it grow in strength, those different roadblocks. And so I challenge you all to take a different perspective, okay? To take a different perspective when you are thinking about your roadblocks. Don't only think about them as roadblocks, because we don't do incomplete here, all right? So we're going to take another perspective. Don't only think about them, or don't even think about them at all as roadblocks, because you're the only one who can give roadblocks power. So if they exist, that's because you give roadblocks the power mentally to exist. So think about your roadblocks as not only a roadblock, or not at all as a roadblock, but the road you now have to travel. Because we're all going on this path, and it may not be exactly the path that you feel like you're supposed to be going on, but if you think of it as just another road, another obstacle to get over, or what have you, then you just continue moving to your goal. So, not a roadblock, just a road you're going to travel to get to where you want to be. Everyone, thank you so much for watching, checking out the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is your one-stop shop for everything empowerment. And throw in the comments section some of the roadblocks you feel like you have, but not your roadblocks, but the road that you're traveling on to get to where you want to be. And once again, not only I am Vision of Hope, but we are Vision of Hope. Here's a few more videos. Until next time, everyone. When adversity came, I could have fell apart, but I chose instead to follow my heart. When adversity comes, I will never run. I will adjust, adapt, and overcome. Vision.